Hello, everybody. Thank you for getting up and out of your bankies and putting your slippers on and putting on your extra warm robe and coming to the computer. It's 11 degrees. It's 11 shiny degrees in Texas, and there's like 2 inches of snow on my car. Yes, I don't like ice. I don't like ICE, the capital one, and I don't like ice, the stuff that comes from the sky. I think Gaia is sending her judgment on ice on all of us, at least where I live.
The whole south and heading north.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're at a lucky -3 where I'm at, so.
Yes, I've lived in -3. That's why I moved here, and it's not supposed to be 11 degrees.
True. But not as bad as the north,
That's
Canada
true.
and whatnot.
Oh, that's true. I grew up with Canadians. They thought Chicago was a joyful. You'd have thought you were in Miami, Florida, talking to my parents about living in Illinois. Northern Illinois. Southern Illinois is quite warm, actually. So, well, we got lots of good questions.
You've seen a report about 100,000 people are without power in Texas.
Oh, yeah. Well, that happens if a windstorm goes through, but we're really expecting it as more people pull on it for it to have to go down.
But your governor said it's going to be working fine.
Well, we all knew he was lying when Ted Cruz flew out of the state 2 days ago. The memes on that on my phone were just incredible.
I think the clown said he was back.
And I'm going through and marking some things. But while I'm marking some things, I'm going to talk about some things.
Oh, good Lord.
What?
Almost 12 to 20 inches of snow for Mimi.
Ooh. Wow, I'm sorry, Mimi.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's 29 below zero in Ottawa. Are we doing the report? We may as well do the weather reports. It's a big story.
Ice in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Snowy Delaware. Hi, Teresa from Delaware. Very cold in Canada. Oh, no. Tim Walz activated the National Guard. Morning, Jana.
Okay, here. Let's see if I can. What? Yeah, you guys are going to get a lot worse north of me. Yeah.
Alabama's getting rain.
Oh, yeah, God, it's all, they have ice and snow all the way into Austin. Jesus, that's 2-hour drive from where I am. We didn't think it was going to get down there. And Wisconsin, does it really have sub-zero temps, Scott?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Ask backwards.
Jeff.
Jeff my house. And if you notice below my name, it says, there's a thing you can go to, you can type in your search engine, buy me a cup of coffee, and then you just put you want to do Nancy Jean's Garden. It's Crystal Directions 3 is actually where it goes, but YouTube's playing all kinds of games and StreamYard's playing all kinds of games, and so if you could, these guys kind of go around them, and they're taking more and more of every time you give us money. We love the money. We get money, but it's like,
Yeah, YouTube doesn't like me right now. They demonetized me.
Yes, they've thrown Scott off for using materials from other channels. And since I'm the only other channel he talks to, and I did not send a note in.
I think it was the memes. They didn't tell me directly, but I think it was the
little cartoons and things you put.
Little cartoon thumbnails I was downloading from Twitter.
But if they're out on Twitter, aren't they kind of open game?
Yeah, they don't have watermarks, but
That's what I used to look for. I quit using them because, well, I started like playing with Leonardo AI and making my own. But besides, Leonardo makes such lovely pictures of me. They all make me look 40.
oh well.
Okay, to get in.
I appealed it, but they denied me.
Well, we'll see. They'll calm down.
Whatever.
Okay, and then I'm looking for good morning. Okay, I'm going to start with this question. Is it safe to write to our representatives? Yeah, it's safe, but a more effective way of letting your representatives know what you think. And I put a statement about it down here. Use 5Calls. You can find them they're under 5calls.com. They're an app. And what happened, the reason 5Calls came about was it actually came about during the fight for when Obama was fighting to get insurance, universal insurance. And what we found out early on was these representatives, we would know we had people calling from our areas, and we were all in calling groups, calling in different House reps and different places during that fight. And the Republicans would come out and say, well, I'm not hearing from my constituents about that. So these people who were they were campaign consultants out of DC, they came up with a system where if you go in, they tell you who to call, what numbers you should call, what their offices are. They actually will give you a script, and they'll give you like the top 5 issues of the day, but you can just call about whatever you want. You're going to mostly find what you want to talk about on there. And then when you call, you mark off to them that you made the call. So shortly after this system started up, Republicans would show up at press conferences and they'd say, this is when they still did press conferences. They'd show up and they'd say, well, I'm not hearing from my constituents. And they'd hold up and they'd say, but these people have called you. And there were thousands of calls. I mean, they weren't like, you miss this. Now, you will call and find their mailbox full, but you still report back to 5Calls that you contacted them and that their mailboxes were full because they had ways of finding out if all that was true. It's a very effective way to send something, and if you can send them all the postcards you want. They used to pay attention to that. They don't anymore. This is the best way to get your opinion in and make sure it's followed up on. Ta-da! So, and now for something completely different. Go away. The people who wrote to us. We're going to start with that. And we have a couple questions in chat about this one too. What will the outcome be of the Clintons regarding the recent contempt charges? And that has to do with them not answering questions about Epstein, I think.
So yeah, not coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we looked at it last week, and there's a strategy to it, a lawyerly strategy. I've seen some Twitter people think that it may push. They can somehow maybe push it for discovery.
Okay.
You know, if you appeal it and say that they want discovery of, in the files, why? It could help push out the Epstein files, at least.
Mm-hmm.
That they want to see proof why our testimony is needed instead of random, harassment. So let's see what the outcome is.
Okay. Yeah, I get that it's to fight the devil and fight the disbelief that people have about things. that they want to move some enterprise forward. It's not completely their own decision. They are getting guidance about how to do this. It's really Hillary's idea, and it's going to help uncover some hidden truth.
Yeah, I think they got so I got the magician and the bottom of the deck. So I think there's a hopeful master plan here. I mean, they're lawyers. They have good lawyers. And I got the devil too. Hopefully to bring out information from the devil that's been hiding in the moon.
Yeah, my materialism, for you who don't know it, that's the devil in my
Force the issue on the government. So I got the Hierophant, Ace of Cup, Knight of Wands. So I'm feeling like that's bring out information they're hiding and bring it fast. And it feels like they might just drop it.
They may not have to go that far.
Right, that's what I mean. Not them drop it, but the House and government may drop it, because I get the Wheel of Fortune, creating different change. What's being put out there and then they're like, oh crap, I think we need to drop this. So I don't see a prosecution coming because it's going to backfire.
Well, I just see that's what it's there for. I didn't get a yes, it was going to do anything. I got kind of a no, but I got the surrounding. Okay. Okay, here's a question of the day. How much more unaliving and abuse do the people have to take before they stop with this out of control regime? I'm sorry, it's deciding to disappear. They have a new thing where you can supposedly set timers on your comments, and unfortunately, I'm trying to not have it show anyway. Sorry, that's the question. Do we want to try and see if there's a timestamp on this for us?
The timing?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see what comes up.
Not good.
All it's telling me is funding. I think we're going to end the funding for DHS and whatnot. So getting funding, all kinds of coins, contracts and funding. And so I got the Wheel of Fortune again and funding changes. So I had the moon, legal issues, the Queen of Swords, and funding again, a new path on funding. So you mentioned before we went on something about moon cycles, full moon or something.
Yeah, full moon. There's a lot of astrologers saying that we just have to make it to the next full moon, which is in a week. We're a quarter of the way there. Or half. Yeah, quarter of the way there.
I did see, browsing Twitter this morning, that Republicans are upset and may go along with this non-funding issue coming up.
There's somebody who's in the chat, and I saw that she's in there, and I'm not going to reveal her stuff, but she had a long talk with her brother, who's very MAGA. He was coming to help her move some stuff. I mean, they still do brotherly and sisterly things that way. But while he was talking with her about it, the first shooting had happened in Minnesota, and that really upset him. And he said, I'm done. I'm done with them being this out of control. And she said, when he says he's in something, he's in something. And when he says he's out of something, he's out of something. So she thinks that it is shifting. That's one person. I don't talk to MAGA anybody, so I don't.
It's everything. It's one person at a time.
Okay. What I started out with strength. We're going to have strength because the world right side up means it's at the end. We're not nearly over. We haven't had all the towers we're going to have in all this. It's not ready to transition today, but I think you're right about the funding because they don't have the money. They don't have the way to plant the seeds. So I think it is going to be the funding issue. And that could come up in a week. Or more crap could happen. And really, all I know is
Sports. Yeah.
notice they don't come down to Texas and shoot people. They wouldn't make it out.
Or Florida.
Mm-hmm. And then they sent that blackmail letter you sent me yesterday to Bondi. Sent a letter to them saying, well, if you get rid of your sanctuary cities and rewrite all your laws just to make us happy, then we'll be glad to pull ICE out.
It was a blackmail about getting the voter rolls too.
Oh yeah, they wanted the voter rolls so they can mess with them. So
yeah, give me your voter data and we'll stop all this. Blackmail.
Okay.
This Supreme Court has allowed all this with this immunity crap.
Mm-hmm.
And Republicans not standing up.
Right. What did Jack Smith's public testimony have? What effect did it have on Republicans and MAGAs? Thank you.
They didn't watch.
No.
They didn't hear it. They don't watch that stuff. Fox News and OAN and Newsmax, they don't report on it. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. It was like, they didn't see it. The diehards, we're looking at supposed polling at 37% or whatever support. And those MAGAs don't see the news. They live in the delusional land.
And
let's see. Did it. There's still this propaganda coming from our government that they stay in the devil.
Mm-hmm. And they go further into the devil.
I just feel like there's propaganda into the devil. It may seep out into the light when people start talking more, because I'm getting community, like the Four of Wands, like in their MAGA community. Gradually, with the Three of Coins, they'll see some light within their community. Once people start talking and talking and talking, there is a new path coming here. And I get a page of coins with it. So that, could be lack of funding or some funding issues that are coming up that are hitting people. That's going to take a bigger toll when the household finances, and they'll start seeing different things. But unfortunately, the diehards don't see it enough.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to start going through the questions I see in the chat. So, Trump has sent the USS Lincoln to the Persian Gulf and other warships in that group. Is he going to attack Iran? It'd definitely be messier than Venezuela. We can start with, is he going to attack Iran? We can't do 5 questions in 1 question, guys. Our cards don't work that way.
Yeah. I can't remember where I seen the article, but when the Venezuela thing happened, there was basically they were strong arming Dulce Rodriguez. That if she didn't, her and the administration didn't allow somehow, with their infiltration or whatever.
They had to give them the airspace.
Yeah, they said, let us through, or you will be coming with us.
We'll come get you too.
We'll come get you too. Okay.
Do you think he's going to attack Iran?
What's going on with the warship in the Persian Gulf? In support of the devil.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get the devil, but I got very confused cards. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're just pitching a fit. I got the sun, which usually in my readings, that's a yes. And so, but what's a yesing about? They want to steal from someone. That's the 7 of Swords, trying to steal somebody else's stuff. It won't be successful because it has a reversed 6 of Pentacles. They're not there to share and be helpful like they claim. And then I have the Queen of Wands, and that can mean using your better senses and in enterprises. And what I see is I get the fog of the moon. They don't know. They just throw warships around like, there's my threat. This is another taco move. And we're used to presidents making meaningful moves with military stuff. Not, can you imagine him if we'd have been well, first of all, we wouldn't have made it to D-Day with him as president. Can you imagine him saying, bet you they're not looking at Normandy?
Yeah. Yeah, I come up with the 7 of Cups too. There's no strategy here. It's more of a show of force. So I get the 5 of Coins, anxieties, and the devil. So we really don't have the money to do this. Anyway, but it feels like in support of not of our higher good, but someone else's. Things we've already done in the past. Show of strength with the strength card. Knight of Coins isn't someone a military type guy that's gonna come in there and blow up people. So then I got the Hangman in the end, Page of Wands, Queen of Coins, and 3 of Wands. That feels like help for another country or another entity. All talk, the Hangman shows no action.
Keeping the Middle East focused not on what Israel's doing?
Yeah, it very well could be support of Israel, whatever they decide, but I don't, right now I just don't feel like it's an attack that we're going to do. Remember last time we were in there, we lost like 3 aircraft?
Right.
One flew off, another fell off. We lost 2 aircraft.
Okay. Are you this is to all of us. Are we missing a leader who should be the loud voice for democracy right now to organize in a fight? Did you read McCarthy's speech in Davos? Sweetie?
McCarthy.
whoever their prime minister is.
Oh, Sweden's?
No, the Canadian guy.
Oh, Carney.
Carney. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did hear about that. We're missing a leader.
I'm going to ask if Carney's going to be the leader who's going to be the loudest.
Yeah, he's showing more strength than anyone else. We're missing a leader. Yeah, like 280 Republicans.
Yeah.
Missing a leader. All the leaders do feel to be overseas, other countries that are standing up. I'm not seeing anything home-based.
Nope. I see they're all hiding, resting, like they fought their battles and they're not ready to fight. Nobody wants to go in with a bam bam stick and take it on. They're not even meeting about it. That's kind of frustrating. And the other two are no's also. No meetings and nobody coming forward speaking the truth.
Yeah, I get the Two of Swords in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, which way do we go? Two of Swords, Six of Swords, Emperor. How do we stand up against the Emperor when there's no one, taking a stand? All the stars seem to be coming and speaking the truth from other nations. The stars, Ace of Swords, Six of Coins, trying to figure out their spoils. And outcome is High Priestess, Page of Coins, the Fool, and the Hermit. Hermit is not taking action. The Fool is kind of like, do we jump? There's just no decision. Yeah. And the High Priestess is using your own intuition and whatnot, but they're hiding. Their path is hiding.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're missing leaders.
Okay, and this is along the same line. How does Trump feel about Carney's amazing historic speech in Davos? I know he put 100% to it, but Scott and I already discussed this. He's going to taco like he does on all the tariffs and everything else.
You see, with this man, he doesn't listen. So it's me and my guys are saying one ear out the other.
Mm-hmm.
He's simulating in his own brain.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing really sticks. Well, let's see what the cards say here. How does 145 feel about it? There's another picture of him sitting alone at a table. No one.
Well, no one can stand to be in the room with the smell.
That too.
Oh, I tell you, Trump's not happy. I got better cards than I thought he would. Trump's living in his little world, and he says, this is the Nine of Pentacles. I'm just fine. I don't understand this. And then he starts seeing what's going on around him. And some part of that speech got through to him because it shifted him off his hangman's situation. So he's going to go out like the little page of swords and wave around more tariffs. But there's no substance to what he does. There's no real action behind it. He's a reversed Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords being real action. Real thought. What'd you get?
Naivety. Naive. So King of Cups is coming out as Carney here.
Mm-hmm.
And the Six of Cups is feels like 40. Carney is coming from strength. The 45 feels naive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he thinks that Felon 45 thinks that he's stronger than Carney and he'll win.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get King of Swords, Knight of Wands, and my bad karma heartbreak card.
Yeah, I think it upset. I think it got through to Trump at some level.
Yeah. Yeah, he felt that there with that card. He felt that energy coming from Carney. And then outcome is, I think we got a taco here with the Eight of Cups walking away. Darkness, and we're losing money.
We're losing money like crazy.
We're losing money big time.
Yeah, everybody look at the stock market tomorrow when it opens up, and Sweden's taking all of its funds out of the U.S.
Yeah, the Danish are talking about 100 million pulling.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they were going to wait till the February 1st. If he does taco on everything, they're pulling. I think you said the Swede is already in the process of.
Sweden's already it's effectively done it to the entities that know this is leaving. Okay. Hello to all. Keep safe from strangers with masks. You know what I find ironic? The people that all screamed that no one should ever wear a mask. That what do these people have masks on their faces? Now they've made it their tool to suppress people.
Yeah, and that whole sad shooting yesterday. They'll claim about Second Amendment and whatnot, but then forget about the little weasel Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh yeah,
matter that comes running out there with an AK. And this brilliant young man didn't even pull his gun and ends up passing. It's so frustrating.
Okay, well, I'm moving on. I'm reading through the weather reports here. Okay, Walz has activated the National Guard in Minnesota. Is it all coming to a head?
Tim Walz. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel good.
No.
It's like, what is that National Guard going to do? It feels like the situation that happened yesterday. You're going to get in arguments because these ICE agents are basically Proud Boys on a power trip, think they have immunity, and National Guard don't want to get, into a civil war fighting with guns and whatnot.
Okay, what I got is we've got no one wants to take the bam bam stick against the feds, and this is ICE. They're all out pounding on each other, not even knowing who they're really hitting. And what is the future with them moving in the National Guard? It's going to bring in a mature influence, adult decisions. People are going to see Walz as more in charge, and it's going to be the beginning of a new message to the people in Minnesota. I think it's going to back the ice down. Because they are just Proud Boys. They're just little gangsters with weapons and shooting at people.
So I get the 10 of, in the past, I get 10 of Cups, Hangman, and nine of Swords. And so that's like our happy home is in delays, anxieties. So that makes sense. Current energy is to put a new, so Page of Pentacles was kind of like taking a new path, taking new strategies. The World and the Devil. So it feels like the right thing to do. Try to de-escalate. It feels like the feeling.
It puts something else up against them, where they've been driven out, where they've got no protection from the local police. They've had to move out of hotels and stuff.
So I get justice coming moving forward. So legal orders will help. Removing funding will help. But I'm getting that 6 of Pentacles. So, like you said, I don't think they're going to come in and escalate. It feels like a tempering, be more diplomatic than coming in and fighting, So temperance, toning things down. 9 of Pentacles, feeling peace of mind and balance. Queen of Cups, the way we should be. And Page of Swords. So yeah, I'm feeling peacekeepers here, not fighters.
No, that's what I think. It's good that there is a force stronger than them. Right now, they're getting the feeling I can blow people away in their cars and nobody's going to care.
Yeah. I didn't get anything in this toss about how 45 feels, but I get judicial rulings here with the justice card. Mm-hmm. That's going to help too.
Okay, and according to the Orange Man, climate change is a hoax. I'm living in a hoax, Scott, with rain and snowy weather. Is he too dumb to understand? Well, I can answer that. I don't have to pull a card. Yes, he's too dumb to understand. Poor Scott. I'm sorry.
Windows. Yeah, my cough is coming back. Still that dragging cold from last week.
Yep. I'm just getting over it finally. I'm like, one of my ears is doing weird things, and I only have one ear that hears, so this is really sad. And Rainbow Dragon 777, if you write a question I can have a chance of understanding, I'll be glad to look at it, but I have no idea where that would be. Do you want to answer that? Okay. Will ICE agents be prosecuted for by him after he's gone?
I get a definite yes.
I've always gotten yes. I'm going to lay some cards just to make sure, but
after this mess we're going through, I feel it's no holds barred. Being a nice guy is over. Rule of law. We need to get that back. And you have to show strength here within law.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's going to end up a Gestapo
I
Hitler
see it's
type.
going to be a mark of their total lack of judgment that it's going to go into the courts because this is the person that sits on the courts and that's going to have justice is going to be demanded. But we're going to have to be careful about people trying to swing sweetheart deals and like, well, I'll tell all if you'll let me go. Don't. What'd you get?
Yeah, atonement from past mistakes. 6 of Cups, 6 of Swords, Knight of Cups, things better. Bringing things to the light, investigating with the Hermit. Bring from the dark to the light.
Okay. How is MAGA feeling about the Second Amendment applying to all Americans, and will gun reform come back?
I don't think it's sinking in. I seen the NRA actually posted something reasonable about this shooting. And MAGA in the comments are just gone. Applying to all. They just don't get it. They don't get it. What's going on? They don't get it yet.
Okay.
It's going to be years. We're still dragging on this issue.
People, they're not focusing on what the real issue is. Is it
right?
Taken away. Okay. What is a timer on questions? Okay. I shouldn't have brought it up because it's really something I need to fight on my end. But when I post banners, it gives you a timer on them now, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or no timer. There used to be no timer. If you put a banner up, it just stayed up. Now, unless you go in and set it to no timer when you're posting and this is a whole mechanical thing on my end, unless I remember to say no timer, it goes to 10 seconds, and I can hardly read them in 10 seconds. So it's got nothing to do about knocking things that are in the chat. What I'm talking about is something that happens in another part that you don't see, kind of. Okay? Don't worry about it. You're fine. Statement of the day. No one has ever said House Republicans are smart. They're just good at saving their own butts. Aloha from snowy day in Texas. So happy okay, and just join us in the living rooms. Let's see. I thought that was a question. We've talked about this, guys, and I'm not going to do any more timings on when he's going to be gone. How much humiliation do we have to endure with this clown? We're way past my humiliation quota, but
I know every time I feel a timing, it gets delayed, or the free will of many. I don't know. I still think February is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Changes. Republicans are going to wake up. Just hope it happens. I was asking myself yesterday about dates. Some reason February 23rd popped in my head of something huge happening. So we got a month.
Okay. Has anyone noticed that Usha, Carolyn, and Katie Miller are all pregnant? What's going on?
Bye.
I tell you what, when I was a young woman, that was your fastest way out of reality. Go have a baby, and then you have a whole new reality. But yeah,
it's an easy way to say I got family duties to do. I got a baby to take care of, so I'm taking leave and not coming back.
Is this true, Scott? You're more aware of this stuff than I am by nose counts. 7 Democratic representatives voted for ICE funds.
In the House, yeah.
Mm.
7 Democrats voted for the ICE funds on the vote the other day.
That's sad. I bet you they were all no. Well, we don't. Maybe one was from Texas. I could think of one that might do that.
Yeah, I think there was one for Texas that half MAGA Washington lady, Maria, whatever. Basically, the Democrats want her out. She's not truly a Democrat.
Yeah, and that's something you have to watch out for, guys, when you're looking at candidates, because, you know.
I mean, it was nice to get that seat because it was a Republican seat, but turning out to be a failure as far as Democrats. There's a true Democrat running against her.
Mm-hmm.
He could possibly win.
Good.
With the changing of times here, but
California joined the World Health Organization right after 45 withdrew. And that's true. And he's hired all those people under the California, a state that has a surplus and uses it for good things. They're hiring a lot of the healthcare professionals and other people that. I had a friend who was in that work in healthcare research like that. And she said it's like a train. Once you get off, it's very hard to get back on. So, yes, he's doing that for us. I mean, that we all owe California a favor. Okay. Hi, Gigi. I saw your comment. Rose Blue still has electricity. She's just north and west of me, Texas.
Good.
Okay. How many Germans looked the other way when they knew about concentration camps and mass shootings in the forest and in the countryside? Well, according to books I've read, there are a lot of them, but a lot of places they. One of my best friends when I worked at American Airlines was a woman who was a child in Nazi Germany. And her father was a scientist. And he had told her mother if there was ever a night that he didn't come home from work, for her to call this friend and they would help Krista and her dad and her mother get out. So there came a night when he didn't come home. So her mother went over to their house and they said, yes, come with us. And that's how Krista ended up spending her growing up years, because she was like 3 or 4 when this happened, in Bavaria, because her father was one of the scientists that, as an act of consciousness, were not helping Hitler. So they killed him. I mean, that's a really good way to get people to work for you. But, and it was during the coldest winter they had during the war, because she was in a sleigh going across the countryside to get to a family farm of someone who'd agreed to take them in. And she got frostbite. And she loved it when they moved to Texas from New York, because unless it was today, she would never have to go through that again. But yeah, so Germans knew, and they did the best they could to protect themselves. But most of the Germans I know that I've talked to that were there in Nazi Germany were kids. And one friend his family had fled the town they lived in and was living in a farm in Bavaria. Apparently Bavaria was the place to go. And his grandfather, they heard that American tanks were coming up the road. And he went up and he was hiding up he was supposed to hide up in the attic with his cousins, and he didn't. He came down and he was standing next to his uncles when the tanks came up the road, and they were on a hill. And they said they saw this whole line of tanks, and he was standing next to his uncle who was saying, it's over, it's over, it's Uber, it's Uber. And when the tanks stopped at the farmhouse, the soldiers that got out were all African Americans. And he had never seen a black man in his life. And he was 10 years old, 10 or 11 years old. And he went up and he, because he was a kid, right? He went up and he touched the guy's hand. Like it doesn't scrape off. And he called them chocolate soldiers. And the soldiers thought that was hysterical. So they gave the kids chocolate, which they carried in to be friendly with the neighbors. And they said, do you have a phone? That's all they cared about. Do you have a telephone? And wait, they went in the farmhouse, took the phone that the family had in the farmhouse, ran up their tank over it to make sure they couldn't rebuild it, and then went on down the road. And he said that was him understanding the war was over. So
Crazy.
So yeah, their parents knew, but where did you go? I mean, they did the first thing that's happening here. They took over mass media. Yay, Ross, CBS, We're here till they drag my shaggy ass away from the microphone. What is this? What's TikTok? Future of TikTok. Now they've changed the terms to insane demands. I've known nothing about TikTok except it gives me a headache. But
yeah, it's just like allowing more of your data to go to them. I'm just like, whatever. Everyone has our data, so.
I mean, what do they think they're hiding? When all I have to do is click over and say, oh, this is an interesting ad, and then find out it's something I would never look at for the whole rest of my life. And then for the next 10 days, every time I'm messing around, I play a lot of games on YouTube, guy. I'm the first one to admit it. Keeps my little brain working. And I'll be sitting there and I'll go to these crazy ads, and I found the little buttons at the bottom you can push and say not interested. And then it still takes 2 days for them to take you out of their algorithm. Okay.
Yeah. I was searching for shock absorbers to purchase, and
now all you get is shock absorbers every
get is shock absorber ads. So.
And I used to like it when you could go find funky, weird ads. Of course, I'm so old. I remember before the year 2000 when you could go on whatever it was we were on at the time, and they'd have a thing, take a guess, and you'd push on it and it would take you to some website you might never ever look at. I mean, they weren't taking it to porn, but anyway. After the murder yesterday, will there be some quiet resignations of ICE and CBP agents? I don't think so. From what I've heard, Bondi and the rest of them are getting more hardcore. What do you think, Scott?
I'm sensing fear.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it happened, a lot of them ran. Right after the incident, they're like, "Oh crap!" So I think it's more fear than resignation because they're making really good money to be Nazi agents. But it feels like a pullback, like some that aren't gun-wielding evil people much. It feels like a pullback. So I don't sense resignations now.
Okay.
But it feels like they may, less of a concentration.
Okay. Now here's the confusing. You have to understand the entire context. ICE is here in Florida. Now, do they mean ICE like ICE that's by me outside my front door? Or do they mean those funky little guys with masky faces?
No, I think they were talking about ICE agents.
Okay.
Because there's a higher concentration of immigrants in Florida and Texas, we were talking about earlier.
Well, if you want to go after immigrants, go into Boston and start checking the visas on the people with Irish accents. And I'm talking about my own kind here, but follow law. These are the people who, Cuellar, yeah, he would. These are the people who were Dems that voted for ICE money. So if you live in any of their districts, take note. I don't happen to live in Cuellar's got one of those weird districts they drew that goes along the Texas border. And Vicente, I don't know where he is from. Okay. Does Trump think some military action will help him in the midterms? Yeah. He's wrong. You know, that whole myth of we like our if the president's at war, we won't go against them. Isn't that the theory that's
Yeah, the chaos is feels like it is part of the program. It's more of, I think they know they're hosed for the midterms, so if you can, fear people I'm not going to the polls, they think it will help.
Well, if people are afraid to show their face.
But the base does like the cruelty. So they think it does, but it's not. It's going to be a blowout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had the Senate debate yesterday in Texas. The Democratic candidates.
No, I did hear about it. I was trying to find more about it, but
it's on. You can go to KXLN, I think, and they have the whole debate there. You can see it, or you can just Google it and you'll find it. But it was.
I didn't see much, but according to Jasmine, she says she won.
They're not going to say I lost. She didn't lose, but I mean, it was a draw. Sean watched the whole thing and they wouldn't let him simulcast with it. So he just happened to be on live while it was going on. And he was clearing up questions people heard during the debate while listening to the debate. And then he watched the whole thing again. But he said it was really good. So, and, I don't know if nobody else, you probably don't care the rest of the country, but the Republicans are just, Cornyn's being beaten by the black MAGA guy. The only person that beats him is when they put Paxton. And if they nominate Paxton, oh, please, I can tell you as a campaign consultant, nothing makes people go to the polls like hate. Really, honest to God, Paxton is so despised by people who don't even know anything else about politics in the state. They know that guy's a mess. So please, because that gives, and we have two good candidates who can't pick wrongly. The only thing I worry about Tallarico is he is a populist to some extent, and he does couch a lot of his stuff in churchy words that make some of us that live in a very churchy state very nervous. And you kind of wonder if he's not going to do like what the lady in Washington did. Show up and not be as much of a Democrat as you need. So we just need Democrats to show up as Democrats. God damn. Okay, Sweden, we talked about this a little bit. Sweden and Denmark sold off U.S. Treasury bond investments. Oh, that will destroy our economy to a large extent. Our Treasury bonds used to be the gold standard.
They are if you want a high return right now.
I know. But that doesn't, all investments like that should be looked in the long term. And this does not help the long-term prospects. I heard that most of Congress and Senate called for trash and one half of the administration to resign or be removed. Is this true or false? Oh.
There is something in the Constitution that allows, it's basically impeach all
Mm-hmm.
for high crimes, to treason. We
Shame
are at that
your
point.
citizens.
So there is a thing in the Constitution. It's like, you'd have to look it up. I can't remember the amendment and article, but you can impeach the whole administration. But, you know, Republicans have to go for it. And 2/3 vote.
That's why we need to have a totally Democratic Congress in November and see how fast it changes. Now I've got Scott's cold. We may not make it to an hour and a half, Scott, I swear. Will the U.S. go into bankruptcy?
It's still a bankruptcy, but it's just like strain on debt or debt repayment.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a bankruptcy?
No, but we're going to walk right up to the line. If we don't start taking care of business and calling people to account for what they've done, and if our Congress just sits there blindly, we could be in real trouble. But I do not see that going forward. There's no momentum. There will be things that'll happen, but it won't be that much. There's going to be we just have to get used to a really severe imbalance, and it's going to create temperance. I don't think the rest of the world would let us go bankrupt because what it would do to them.
So I got a magician here, so it feels like creative financing.
Mm-hmm.
Ace of Swords and decisions, evaluate, patience. So it feels like creative financing. Before going bankrupt, we got struggles, we got financial issues, but then we have a Page of Cups with it. So it feels like some relief there, but there's going to be money problems. Because at the current rate, it's going to be unattainable to pay our debts back. If 45 and this Republicans, we will have. There was almost $3 trillion in debt this year.
I know.
Can you imagine nearing $50 trillion in debt by the end of 4 years? The way we're going. It's a struggle. I feel a struggle coming, but not a collapse because I don't get a tower. But it's like creative financing and change coming. There's going to be some pain with a Page of Swords. Page of Swords, Seven of Cups, and King of Cups. So here we got new leadership, but we're trying to change. So it's like painful but pre-bankruptcy kind of feeling.
Okay. Okay. And we're almost out of picking questions out of your chat because we've been answering them as well as looking at them. When is the Supreme Court coming out with a ruling on tariffs?
Yeah, they could have done that last week.
They could have done it last year.
I'm not getting a date. It's kind of like the stupid immunity thing. They waited till June. I don't feel June. It kind of feels like they're going to wait and see if we fund the government. If it doesn't, then they'll release it, kind of feeling.
Yeah.
So it feels like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I see. I've laid out a bunch of cards, and the only ones that were prominent in it, if we don't get it this spring, we're going to get it this fall when they see how the elections are going. I don't think we can wait till fall. Oh, well, he just keeps threatening them. They can't enforce them yet. So. But it screws everybody up when they're buying shit. Can I say? Okay, this is... Okay, Laura in Austin, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for in the primary. And right now, you got the wrong question. It's not who can win against Cornyn or Paxton. It's probably going to be Paxton, but Cornyn is defeated by both of the other opponents if they go into a runoff. So it's Paxton or the other guy whose name I don't know, who I haven't even bothered to learn. Because I think it's going to be Paxton, which is going to be the most fun I've had in a long time. I may go back to stealing yard signs if Paxton gets on the ballot.
Isn't it that Will Hurd? The black guy Hurd?
I'm not sure. Sounds familiar. Sounds right. But they're both great and they're both different. You're right. I mean, we have
Yeah, just go with your heart.
Go with who you think, and you may. I mean, the election is the 3rd. It's not far away. Oh, this is who Rose wants to see removed: DHS, CPB, ICE, DOD, DOJ, NASA. Those jerks. Rose, tell us how you feel.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard's a non-issue. They're leaving her out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Federal government partially opening.
I just think it's a way to try and look like they're doing something down there. They also were trying to open and rent airports in Washington State as places to deport people from too. So, and they didn't get any of them.
It just feels,
it's all staging.
The secure the area kind of feeling, like bomb more drug boats or whatever.
Talk about that so you're not talking about Epstein. Will New York State be successful in seizing Trump's property?
Seizing.
That's the stuff that he lost in that lawsuit.
Yeah, it's on appeal. The appeals court said they dropped the $450 million, and Tish James appealed it. I guess they still got the court monitor, Barbara Jones, their transactions, I guess.
I get they're going to be successful.
Well, New York State.
I got that they're actually moving forward with it. And it's got to do with money and exchanging money. And there's a woman who's sitting in the seat. That would be the lady who's been watching the property. It's not done yet because they're still putting up defense. But I get behind it at the bases. Yes, they're going to get it.
Period. I get losing money for the proper reasons. There could be marshals or something involved in seizing. So I got military force, some kind of Knight of Swords coming in and losing money. 5 of coins. Then I get there will be a change in an order to the Trump organization. at some point. Chariot, change. Taking charge would change. Moneta coins usually feels like if it isn't a person of honor, it's like an order. You know, here's your gift, here's your order. Yeah, at some point it feels like it's coming strong in order.
Okay, I have an answer to this question without laying a card. Talk to the people who used to work at Jim Beam. What is the boycott going on throughout the world doing against American products doing?
Kentucky
we sold
bourbon.
more whiskey overseas than we did here. That's why they closed.
Kentucky bourbon's going down.
Mm-hmm. So you have to go back to your friendly bootlegger. And I don't know if this is true, but foreign leaders are starting to doubt backing for him. The foreign leaders who backed him initially are the ones who always pick the easiest way for them, irregardless of what it's doing to their own countries. So, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like the dictators are the ones that don't want to get Venezuela'd. But Argentina, we gave them $40 billion and they signed that peace pact.
Mm-hmm.
They used that what? Did he use our own money to supposedly get in the peace pact?
Mm-hmm.
Craziness.
Well, here's someone. Think about this when you go to the polls. Screw Trump, his entire regime. I will never forget. I will never forgive anyone who supported him.
Same.
Yes, we're on your side, kid. Yeah. Okay.
You want to look on a government shutdown? Deb just posted a question.
Okay, I'll go to the bottom and start working up because they're getting a lot of people arguing Nazi lore. People are tolerant to lies. Who put it up?
1111, Deb Zukowski.
Yes. Okay.
And we also have the ACA credits. Need that voted on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's big funding issues on having the government opening that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're what, 7 days away from that? Something like that. Government shutdown. Funding freeze. What's going to happen?
Oh dear, Scott, I got a yes. Look what's at the beginning of it, the reading, the devil.
This tower.
And people behaving immaturely and not wanting to really face the full consequences of what they do with the world. And these are two yes cards too. That's Trump. And it won't last long, but it's probably going to come to that.
My guys were leaning towards the left when I was listening. So current situation is we're heading for a shutdown. 8 of Cups, withdrawal. The Tower, upheaval. And the 7 of Pentacles. That's trying to work on a investment, your progress, but we're in a walking away in Tower. There's no agreement right now. Then I get moving forward. New Beginnings, Page of Pentacles, and the Devil. So their Devil again is a downfall, a failure, greed. So the good news is not there with the Devil. Outcome. So I get the Empress, and that's goodness, but it's more of a judgment on the people that don't work together. It's kind of like feeling like people have had enough. So I don't think it's going to be a long shutdown.
No, that's what I saw. It was really quick.
Empress is a 3. It could be 3 days or 10 days. So I'm feeling like 3 to 10 days. So people are going to have to stand up. Go back. I mean, yeah, true. That Save Act.
Yeah, we've had. I used to run the polls for years. It was my cottage industry job, because if you were to manage the polls, it wasn't lucrative, but for a day's work, it was good money. And there was so much we had to go through. And when people got married, I mean, there was just a lot we could do at the polling place to make sure someone voted. My attitude was, if they showed up and they could prove they were on that sheet, man, they voted. But okay, yeah.
I see Jeff was thrown along with this. He said he got a yes too on the funding, government shutdown.
I'm good. Okay, and not good, but my representative, Jeff Hurd, disabled his email. If they do that, they have an office in Washington. If you go to 5 calls, there will be a 202 office number that you can get a hold of them. You can place your calls there. Even if, I mean, we don't know what they do with emails. We don't have a real good way to track that unless you're sending it to 2 people at the same time. And yes, I think if Trump's removed, his cabinet will go bye-bye.
I like to do a full spread on that, if you don't mind.
Want to do that? Sure.
Yeah, I want to see what comes up with that. I'm going to see what's going to happen with the cabinet. I don't want to feel this question.
Big cards.
There would be a couple. My guys are showing me dominoes.
Well, apparently
it feels more like a mass exit rather than a removal.
Some admiral's running for the Congress, and that's supposedly upsetting Hegseth terrible, giving him upset tummies.
Oh, there's someone who fired. I see who's running against Nancy Mace, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Well, they're running for national office, so it's not just in the state. Oh my God.
What's going to happen with the current?
When he leaves, it's tower time. Look at all of them falling out of the tower. This is also a yes. And this is a yes. It's a new beginning. But we won't get everything we want, and we're going to be able to write it. And it's going to take a while. It's not going to move as quickly as we want, but they'll be gone.
Um, we're going to see the betrayals. As things come out with the sun, you get the 7 of Swords and 10 of Wands. So everyone's going to have these heavy burdens on them, and the betrayals and deceit and everything's going to be coming to light with the sun. So then we get a victory, a 6 of Wands, a 6 of Cups, until the past is returning, and the 7 of Pentacles. So that's talking about constantly picking out information. It's not a quick mover. So it feels like the heavy burdens are going to be building on people, and then they're just going to be like, I can't do it anymore. I'm gone. 3 of Cups. So we got a community celebration. The 5 of Swords. People are going to be in a no-win situation. And then 4 of Cups. Being on board, discontentment, thinking about what they did, what's wrong. So I get a Temperance in the end. So that's kind of like balancing, slow moving, adapting, and new control. And it comes along with the Hierophant. So we're talking about government within, King of Wands, the intelligence leader. And then we're going to try to get to that 10 of Pentacles, the wealth, achievement, the family ties, getting back there. But it's going to be a blending and slow. But it depends on the people and how much they can take. So it doesn't feel like a mass exiting. Patricia said the Article 2, Section 4. I don't see that happening. It's more like a threat. It's like, I can't take the pressure anymore, I resign. I can't take the pressure anymore, I resign. It feels like that. Looking for, a way out without going to prison.
Okay.
That kind of feeling.
We're going to close before we finally close by pulling a nice card. But we're going to close because my voice is about to really disappear. So, and this person's been following the monks and the Aloka on their walk for peace. They bring me so much joy and hope. Have you been following that thing? They're walking across the U.S.
Oh,
and, yeah, and they were in the Carolinas, thank God, ahead of the ice storm. But they're all dressed in their robes, and the towns are taking care of them and stuff. And they're going to walk the entire U.S. and they're bringing out so many people to see them, and it's such a wonderful thing. Casey went to school in North Carolina, so friends of hers actually went out and saw them and wrote her about seeing them. It's just a wonderful thing where people on the ground, a walk for peace, positive action for peace, not just, although our no kings and our other things are important, this was really interesting. So we're going to end with them. And do you want to pull a card somewhere?
So I get 2 of Gabriel, 3 of Gabriel, and Ace of Ariel in these cards. The 3 of Gabriel is that 3 of Wands. It's reaching outward, but it's like it's taking time for your next step. Making bold choices, sharing your visions with others. And then Ace of Ariel is the Ace of Coins. So that's your time, your support, good changes, prosperity. So what it feels like with these 3 is to find greatness or feel accept, it takes time. You can't just expect the lottery when you're working on a fulfillment of life, right? It feels like a slow moving thing of making things possible. So being optimistic and setting your goals. So that's what I'm feeling now. Go ahead.
Very good. Are you done?
Yeah, those are the three.
Okay. I'm pulling from the Angel and Auras deck. And the interesting, it's oracle cards, but they have a reverse definition. But we did not get the reverse definition of Uriel gold. Archangel Uriel means the light of the fire of God. It's traditionally presented with a scroll in one hand and a flame in the other. This is because Ariel was known for providing brilliant epiphanies for those who asked for his assistance. He offers those amazing ideas for those who are truly pursuing life's path and that they're passionate about. Gold is the color of independence and thought. A golden aura, typically seen around self-employed person or persons in management. Golden energy is helpful to the goal setting and checking things out on your to-do list. When gold is present in your aura, this is a person that is passionate about the vision. That's not a question, but how. It's not a question of whether it's going to happen, it's how, not when. Gold energy can stimulate new ideas and bring forth new insights. So that's our message for this week. And that's a pretty card, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get to saying, God, how can any more of this go on? Talk to Uriel.
I haven't touched those angel cards. Those are big ones, aren't they?
Yep. Well, yeah, you saw me holding it up.
Yeah. Oh, I just had that angel deck, archangel deck.
Yeah. Well, none of his decks are small. They have made smaller versions of them, but when he makes them big. We're talking about Radley Valentine. And he did this one with Dougal Fraser. And they teach color and stuff like that.
Ugh. Kristen Davis, 12 inches of snow, 11 degrees. Ugh. That's a lot to dig out.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the one thing here. Nobody expects you to dig out. They expect you to stay inside till it melts. You know, and you remember when that phrase used to be out there, put it where the sun don't shine? Well, after snow season in Texas, you can find out really quickly where the sun don't shine because it's the last place that has snow. But focus on those sweet monks that are walking across our country to try and help us, and we need to help each other. Remember 5 calls? It's a way of tracking, keeping in with Congress. And if they don't answer who was it? Somebody told me that Adam Schiff's phone number his office phone was blocked. It was his mailbox was full. But when I used to do 5 calls to Ted Cruz's office, and the guy he knew my voice after a while. So. Anything else you want to tell people except to stay warm?
No, stay warm, stay safe.
Well, you
make smart choices.
See y'all next week. Bye.